A deep hush fell over the sanctum of voices as the final stanzas of the ancient inscriptions glowed across the vaulted ceiling. 12 stone columns, each inscribed with swirling calligraphy, rose to dizzying heights in the circular chamber. A ring of elder scholars in flowing robes gathered around a central spirit lamp. Its candle flame shimmered in oddly shifting colors, blue one moment, gold the next, suggesting cosmic energies at work. For centuries, the prophecy had been debated and dismissed, revered and feared. It spoke of an age of turmoil, where the galaxy would teeter on the brink of self-destruction, only to be saved by a newly emerged species. Tonight, after centuries of careful study, the elders were prepared to share their final conclusion with the council. At the far end of the dais, Elder Neru stood with careful dignity. He was the oldest living oracle among the Renari, his milky, cataracted eyes a testament to the thousands of visions that had coursed through his mind. With a trembling hand, he gestured for silence. Rustling robes and whispered speculation immediately ceased. Only the faint hum of the spirit lamp's power remained. Then, in a voice as fragile as parchment, yet brimming with ancient authority, he spoke. "They have arrived, those once believed too insignificant to heed. The prophecy points clearly. We have verified every measure. This new species, humanity, has awakened the great promise. The cycle of war that ravaged our stars is shifting because of them. They will strive to bring balance, or so the inscriptions claim." A lone scholar raised a hand, voice hushed with awe. "But how? Humanity is younger than most species. Their worlds are few, their technology less advanced than ours. How could they become the harbinger of change?" Elder Neru inclined his head, stirring the swirling energies in the lamp. The prophecy spoke of a people whose hearts yearn for more than conquest, and whose adaptability stands unrivaled. Their strength arises from unity when threatened, yet in their weakness lies the key to forging new alliances. The text is clear. They rise after cataclysmic conflict to restore equilibrium. Everyone in the chamber had heard rumors of these humans. They hailed from a small planetary cluster in the Orion Arm, their homeworld called Earth. Centuries of catastrophic wars in the galaxy had largely overlooked these newcomers, overshadowed by the might of ancient powers locked in endless rivalry. But the humans had not remained passive. Rumor had it that they persevered, forging alliances, innovating technologies to survive. And now, each elder in the sanctum believed it. Earth's children would step onto the galactic stage. Soon after the council declared the prophecy had been fulfilled in the form of humanity's ascendancy, word spread throughout the allied sectors. Some greeted the news with relief. They had prayed for a champion to end the centuries-long Ketid Dominion War, which had left entire star systems as rubble. Others derided the notion that a lesser-known species could have any meaningful sway. Skepticism abounded, especially among the Aran Shoi, an avian race proud of their military traditions. For them, strength was proven on the battlefield. The idea that humans might restore peace through something other than superior firepower seemed laughable. Still, the humans themselves had no knowledge that they were at the center of an ancient prophecy. On the newly terraformed colony of Celesta IV, Captain Meredith Afolian of the Earth Initiative League stood on a windy plateau, surveying a cluster of modular habitation units. She watched as workers moved carefully over the rocky terrain, installing power conduits and adjusting environmental domes for the hundreds of incoming settlers. The day's sky glowed in pastel pinks, revealing twin moons that would soon be overshadowed by the galaxy's tragedies if war reached them. She felt a restlessness that had accompanied her ever since hearing rumors of a new wave of conflict brewing among the star-faring powers. That evening, a diplomatic envoy from the Core Nebula arrived at Celeste IV. A modest starship bristling with advanced sensors dropped through the atmosphere and landed in a swirl of rust-colored dust. Captain Afolayan greeted the small party of Renari ambassadors, who descended the ramp onto the stony field. Their leader, Ambassador Malutha, spoke softly, yet with urgency. "Captain, we come with news you may find incredulous. Age-old texts name your people as the ones to end a conflict that threatens to tear the galaxy apart again. We sense hostilities are brewing between the Ketid Dominion and other militarized factions. We believe humanity will unite the fractious powers and stave off another cosmic calamity." Captain Apholion gave a measured smile. "We've heard talk of cosmic prophecies and destiny before. Powerful neighbors once dismissed us, so we built alliances out of necessity. But we are not miracle workers. If conflict spreads, we will defend ourselves. Yet the notion of single-handedly bringing peace sounds beyond the realm of the possible." Malutha's long fingers tapped anxiously on the hilt of a ceremonial staff. "Understand, Captain, we do not expect you to wave a wand and enchant the galaxy into harmony. But the prophecy suggests humanity's greatest power lies not in brute strength, but in forging connections. You have proven capable of bridging differences on your own world. It's far more than many advanced species have managed in centuries. We only wish to guide you to a council with the major powers. The Ketid in particular must see reason, or the galaxy fall." Reluctantly, Captain Apholion agreed to a formal gathering. She informed Earth's diplomatic corps, who swiftly arranged an emergency summon on Celeste 4. Within days, starships from multiple species arrived. Though the Dominion refused to send their highest warlord, they dispatched a lesser official, Overseer Karvek, to observe. Days of discussions ensued, tensions high, as factions debated territory disputes, reparation demands, and the rumored reactivation of ancient superweapons. The difference this time was that the mediators, humans, brought a fresh perspective. They spoke with respect, careful not to belittle ancient grudges, yet urging cooler heads to consider the mutual benefits of peace. Overseer Karvek bristled at the prospect of outside interference. The Ketid Dominion had a proud martial heritage. They believed themselves the rightful rulers of the galaxy, shaped by eras of conquest and victory. Diplomatic niceties and caretaker talk of collective progress sounded like spineless cowardice to their ears. They simply placated the council with half-hearted appearances. Karvek's personal mission was to ascertain how much of a threat these humans truly posed. If they were as formidable as rumored, perhaps they deserved more caution. Late one night, while the delegates slept within the temporary habitat domes, flickering systems' electrical lights danced on communication terminals across Celeste 4's settlement. The Interstellar Defense Network had picked up distress signals from outlying star systems. 3 of them had gone dark in a matter of hours, wiped out by unknown forces. Sensors pointed to a Ketid battle fleet lurking just beyond the nearest jump gate. Tensions soared once word spread through the settlement. Were the Ketid preparing a sudden assault, or was a splinter faction seizing power? Captain Apholion summoned the delegates again at dawn, a hush of dread pervading the meeting. The Ketid overseer smoldered with anger, denying that the Dominion itself perpetrated these attacks. "We have no knowledge of sudden offensives. Our chain of command has grown fractal. Some warlords act with disregard for the central authority if they see potential advantage. These rogue elements may be responsible." "Then you should rein them in," replied Captain Apholion, voice tight with controlled anger. "Our galaxy has been torn apart repeatedly by splintered groups acting under the Dominion's banner. If you claim no involvement, you are still responsible. Enough worlds have been reduced to ash." A trembling Renari scholar stepped forward, eyes glowing with cosmic insight. "This is the crucial moment the prophecy spoke of. The galactic powers are on a knife's edge. Hostilities threaten to erupt everywhere. We must do more than talk. We must unite under a single aim, peace, or at least an immediate truce, so that these rogue warlords can be contained." Though Overseer Karvek scoffed, he could not ignore the rising outcry. Even the militaristic Aranshoi recognized the risk of leaving renegade forces uncontrolled. It was a matter of strategic sense. A Dominion civil war could spill across all known sectors, and that night, quietly, Karvek approached the humans, seeking a solution. Unexpectedly, he found himself confiding in them. "My people only respect strength," he admitted. "We cannot simply browbeat the rogue warlords with words. They must see that an overwhelming coalition stands ready to fight. Then, perhaps, they will surrender or negotiate." Traces of hope lit up Captain Apholian's face. "So you are proposing that, under the aegis of a multi-species alliance, we make a show of unity. A blockade or a similar demonstration of force might stop further destruction," he nodded. "Another spasm of war will rend our civilization from within, but I have no illusions. If you humans are to bring stability, your challenge is to convince the other species to join such a coalition. My people will not stand aside for idle diplomacy." Thus began the frantic campaign to unify the galaxy's major powers. Over the next few weeks, the humans dispatched envoys to all corners of Allied space. They appealed to the Morinth, famed for their advanced technologies, to provide sensor nets and fortified drones. They entreated the Zinvera, a species of skilled tacticians, to coordinate naval movements. They begged the Erenshoi for elite guardians to shore up vulnerable stars. Each faction had been at each other's throats for centuries, their relationships scarred by betrayal. Yet the sincerity of the humans, whose position was still relatively neutral, opened doors that had remained sealed. In the midst of these precarious negotiations, a dire message arrived at Celesta 4 via quantum relay. A scouting vessel of the Earth Initiative League had come under attack by unknown ships near the uncharted zones. The vessel's final transmission indicated they had encountered a new threat: strange energy signatures, advanced weaponry. Fragments of the wreckage suggested that beyond the Dominion's rogue warlords, something else prowled the galactic rim, something far more sinister. Some speculated it might be the Varun, an extinct empire rumored to have perfected superweapons eons ago. Others believed it to be a stray band of raiders. The only certainty was that entire star systems were vanishing without a trace. If there was any hesitation before, the specter of a terrifying new foe tipped the scales. The caretaker and visionary species rushed to sign the new Pax Celestia Pact, with humans as mediators and multiple allied fleets under a joint command. They established forward bases in strategic star systems, pooling advanced technologies to form a protective shield around vulnerable worlds. Some built massive carriers loaded with peacekeeping forces. Others contributed medical frigates or terraforming ships that could rebuild war-torn planets. Even Karvek's Dominion dispatched war squadrons to hold the line. Slowly, hope blossomed that an era of unity might dawn. Yet for every step forward, new perils threatened to unravel progress. Doubts flared among the Erenshoi generals, suspicious that the humans might maneuver for hidden advantage. The Morinth scientists fretted that the collaborative technology network was leaking secrets. Others resented giving humanity such a central role. Only repeated gestures of transparency by Earth's representatives and personal visits by Captain Apholian to each faction's command post kept the fragile alliance together. Her unwavering willingness to risk her own safety to address concerns firsthand became legendary, fostering the trust that had been so elusive across the millennia of galactic politics. The greatest test arrived when news broke that a flotilla of Dominion rogue warships was massing near the nebula of Kaivos, preparing to strike an unsuspecting Allied outpost. Captain Apholian received the intelligence with dread. The Pax Celestia Pact was still new and untested. Would the Allied forces respond collectively, or would old rivalries flare? She summoned all commanding officers to a joint communication session. Dozens of holographic faces, from many species and backgrounds, hovered around her in Celeste 4's command center. The last to appear was Overseer Karvek, who announced stiffly, "I have mobilized my loyal fleets and stand ready to engage the rogue warlords. But they are numerous. We cannot hold them off without your help." Captain Apholian met his gaze. "Then we shall help. Together we can prevent the slaughter of innocents on that outpost. Rendezvous in the Kaivos sector. We strike as one. Within hours, hyperlane drives flared across half a dozen star systems as a multi-species armada converged on Kaivos. Standing on the bridge of the Earthship Endeavour, Captain Aphelion surveyed the tactical display. A swirling swirl of icons representing the combined might of once wary species, united for the first time in recorded history. When they dropped out of hyperspace, they found the rogue ships arrayed in ominous formation around the vibrant turquoise clouds of the Kaibos Nebula. Heavy cruisers bristling with Gauss cannons and rail lances hovered menacingly. Planetary assault carriers lurked on the fringes, waiting for the signal to commence bombardment. A hush settled over the Allied armada. Then, a stirring voice rang out across the open comms. Captain Aphelion, calm, yet determined. All ships, stand by. We will attempt a final negotiation with the rogue Dominion. If they will not stand down, we defend the outpost with everything we have. The galaxy watches us. Take this step together. Even as she spoke, the rogue commander spat venomous threats through the comm channels. You dare stand against the rightful expansion of the Dominion, siding with traitors? We unshackle ourselves from the weak illusions of peace. The galaxy exists for the strong. Surrender or burn. No diplomatic approach could sway them. At a single curt nod from Captain Aphelion, the Allied fleet sprang into coordinated battle. Aranshoi Raptor craft with wings bristling and arcs of lightning zipped between Dominion dreadnoughts, disabling key weapon power nodes. Morinth's stealth ships flitted through near-invisible quantum gateways, uploading virus-laced commands to enemy systems. Meanwhile, Earth Initiative frigates and capital ships laid down carefully calculated suppressive fire, using shield layering technology to protect Allied vessels under heavy bombardment. The Ketid loyalists under Overseer Karvek pounded the rogues in savage dogfights, furious that these renegades had claimed to represent the Dominion's martial honor. Explosions lit up the nebula's swirling clouds in spectacular bursts, as energy weapon beams and kinetic shells cut across vacuum. Wreckage drifted in a macabre ballet of twisted metal, flickering flames in zero gravity. The Allied ships pressed on tirelessly, eventually breaching the central formation of the rogue flagship group. Realizing they were outmatched, a large portion of the splinter forces attempted to break off and flee, only to be blocked by the newly arrived Zinvera blockade. The battle raged until, at last, the rogue commander's flagship shuddered under continuous barrage. In a final attempt at sabotage, he ordered his ship to self-destruct, hoping to take the Allied carriers with him. But the Morinth stealth teams had already infiltrated the Dominion systems, rerouting power flows, ensuring the meltdown collapsed inward rather than outward. The superheated fragments vaporized the core of the flagship, leaving the Allied fleet essentially unscathed. Cheers resounded across 1,000 comm channels. Though casualties had been sustained, it was a resounding victory. The Pax Celestia Pact had proven its might against one of the greatest threats in the galaxy. News of the Alliance's success tore through star systems at light speed, kindling optimism that the prophecy might indeed be realized. The galaxy could at last unite. In the afterglow of triumph, a solemn ritual took place. Representatives of all participating species gathered aboard the Earthship Endeavour. Here, survivors were honored. The fallen mourned. Words of reconciliation drifted through the chamber. Yet as Captain Aphelion stood among them, she felt a new stirring in her heart, an unease. The prophecy spoke of more than rogue warlords. Something more had started to stir in the darkness, or so the earlier reports hinted. And as if cued by her worries, a new communique arrived, this one urgent, from the far side of known space. A massive energy anomaly had been detected near the Helios Rift. Sensors indicated something akin to Varun technology, a superweapon rumored to rip the fabric of space-time. The outpost monitoring it had gone silent as well. Suddenly, the prophecy's reference to the final shadow that must be confronted after the false war took on new significance. If the Ketid rogue faction was a false war, then something much worse had just awakened. Once again, an emergency conference convened. This time, on a neutral station near the Helios Rift, holographic charts displayed wave patterns of disruptive energy emanating from an ancient structure hidden within twisted space. Fragmentary translations from old Varun script predicted an apocalyptic surge that could transform entire star systems into quantum rifts uninhabitable for centuries. The prophecy's lines about the doom of unbound potential and the new children forging unity to seal the breach echoed ominously in many minds. The newly bonded alliance had no choice. They had to mobilize quickly. The Helios Rift lay beyond stable jump lanes, meaning any attempt to approach the anomaly would require advanced navigational skill and precise teamwork. Half the fleet would remain behind to safeguard vulnerable worlds. The rest, including Captain Apholion and Karvak, would lead an expedition to investigate, perhaps disable this rumored weapon. Crossing into the rift was like slipping between shredded veils of reality. The stars twisted and bent, luminescence smeared along fractal corridors in space. A single miscalculation could shred a ship against gravitational shoals. Yet the humans, accustomed to survival under harsh conditions, calmly improvised solutions at every turn, assisted by allied sensor networks projecting possible routes. Step by step, they traversed the chaotic fold. At the heart of the rift, they found the monstrous artifact, drifting in a swirling mass of cosmic debris, immense spires of obsidian-like metal, poised to draw in the region's energies and unleash them. The readings spiked dangerously as the Allied fleet approached. A wave of automated Varun drones, each bristling with antiquated but still lethal weaponry, emerged to defend the structure. The coalition responded swiftly, dispatching strike teams to seize strategic control nodes across the artifact's exterior. Crews in specialized vacuum suits hopped from platform to platform, battling the ancient guardians in disorienting low gravity. Inside the labyrinthine halls of the object, arcs of plasmatic fury crackled across corridors carved with cryptic runes. Captain Apholion led a boarding party, accompanied by a Moran's engineer, a Zinvara tactician, and even Karvak himself, though suspicion still lingered between these once hostile species. Through cooperation, they evaded booby traps left by the Varun. Step by dangerous step, they advanced toward the central mechanism controlling the weapon's power. They finally reached a dais ringed by cylindrical pylons humming with cosmic resonance. At the center lay a control console of shifting geometric shapes. The Moranth engineer recognized some fragments of scripting, an ancient interface that responded to mental or biometric input. The prophecy was recalled again. The new children shall guide the ancient code to peace, forging unity through hearts yet unbroken by the old hatreds. And so it was humanity Captain Apholion specifically whom the others urged to attempt the final shutdown command. They believed the interface might only respond to someone free from the age-old Varun rivalries. Gathering her courage, the captain approached the console, placing bare hands on the shaped surfaces. A surge of energy coursed through her body, expanding her consciousness for a brief, excruciating moment into a kaleidoscope of era-spanning visions. She saw galaxies swirling in slow arcs of time, civilizations rising and crumbling, cosmic cycles of tragedy and renewal. She heard echoes of the Valrune themselves, lamenting that their greatest creation had been corrupted by war and left as a cursed relic. She felt their desperate wish for a future unshackled from endless destruction. Through it all, she sensed the centuries of conflict that had shaped the present. Slowly she focused, conjuring one thought that burned bright in her mind: unity. Every species standing side by side, enough blood had been shed across the eons. She yearned to fulfill that promise, bridging the divide that had scarred the galaxy. The console responded, much to her shock. The swirling shapes realigned, shimmering with golden luminescence. The energy reading spiked, then plummeted. Outside, centers reported the superweapon's power signature collapsing in on itself, neutralized. The unstoppable meltdown had been halted. When Captain Apholion withdrew her hands, her heart pounded with raw emotion. She turned to see Karvek, the Morinth engineer, the Zenvara tactician, and the Arinshoi guards, all stunned. Moments later, a burst of triumphant cheers echoed through comlinks. The superweapon, the final threat, was disarmed. Perhaps, for the first time in recorded memory, a galaxy-wide catastrophe had been averted not by a single empire's might, but by a genuine. Upon returning to Allied space, celebrations reverberated across countless worlds. Memorials honored everyone who fought, from the Katid loyalists who bravely confronted their own renegades, to the Morinth specialists who risked infiltration of lethal technologies, and to the Arinshoi champions, who overcame their pride to stand as guardians for all. Yet the name on everyone's lips was that of Captain Meredith Ofolion, and the humans who helped catalyze this coalition. Humanity had proven itself adaptable and unbroken by the grudges that weighed down older powers. They were the living embodiment of the prophecy's final lines. When shadows converge, the new hearts shall rise to mend the tears of old. From the edge of oblivion, they shall restore the cosmic tide. Even the most skeptical races were forced to acknowledge the humans as a linchpin for the galaxy's newfound stability. On Celestia 4, 1,000 delegates gathered in the newly built Interstellar Unity Forum, an immense amphitheater domed by a transparent roof that revealed a glittering view of the stars. There, they signed a renewed Pax Celestia Accords, solidifying cooperative defense, resource sharing, and cultural exchange. The mood was jubilant yet reverent. Holographic banners displayed swirling cosmic imagery of entwined star systems, symbolizing unity. The assembled ambassadors gave standing ovations as Captain Afolion and Overseer Karvek clasped hands on the stage, marking a moment few had dared believe possible. In a quiet corner of the Grand Forum, Elder Nairu and Ambassador Malutha observed the spectacle of unaccustomed fellowship. With a mixture of relief and awe, the old Renari scholar murmured, "The prophecy has been fulfilled indeed. Humanity's rise has restored balance after epochs of devastation. Yet I wonder, now that they stand in a place of prominence, will they remain true to their convictions?" Malutha smiled gently, watching the swirl of human officers in discussion with an Arinshoi general. Yes, they carry the weight of that question. But the prophecy also suggests that the future must be forged anew, beyond the boundaries of old predictions. Perhaps the greatest testament is their humility. They never claimed an innate right to lead. They simply stepped forward when it was needed. A fleeting cosmic breeze, or something akin to it, seemed to ripple through the bright transparency of the amphitheater dome. The war-torn galaxy, still healing, glistened through the starfield. These were the earliest days of a new era, one born not of subjugation or fear, but of cooperation. Much work lay ahead. Broken worlds needed rebuilding, deep-rooted suspicions remained, and resources had to be fairly distributed. But a core shift had begun. The Pax Celestia Pact had shown that bridging differences was not a dream, but a tangible reality, and a young species, underestimated for centuries, was at the forefront of it all. On that day, the final words of the prophecy whispered through many hearts, that from the ashes of the past, guided by unlikely heroes, the galaxy would ascend toward balance. It did not promise a future without conflict, for that would be impossible. Instead, it guaranteed a new path, made by the will of many, woven together by shared hope. Davids had once dared to stand against Goliaths, and in that timeless fable, unity had emerged victorious. Now, across the vast cosmic tapestry, humans and their allies embarked on a grander tale, one that would reshape the destiny of countless stars for generations yet to come.